Hello and welcome to the Sensual Being podcast with myself, your host, Jolene Whiting. I have been a pole dance teacher for nearly 20 years. I'm also a yoga instructor, and my favourite pastimes are connecting to my own sensuality, connecting with the world, and connecting with animals as well. In this podcast, you'll find new and inventive ways of how you see yourself, connecting yourself with others, and also how you see and view the world around you. For this episode, we are going to be looking at what it means to raise your vibration. And what on earth do I mean by vibration? Welcome back, you sensual being. Thank you so much for joining today. I hope you have been enjoying this autumn weather, the autumn sun, and the leaves when they change their beautiful colours and drop onto the ground. I really hope that you've been soaking up some of the good autumn vibes that are around at this time of year. I would like to hone in on vibration today. So I'm sure you've heard this term, raising your vibration. And it doesn't mean just to stand there and shake about a bit. Well, arguably, maybe it does. But do you actually know what that means? Because to be honest, I've heard this term for years, and it was only a handful of years ago that I thought, I actually start to understand what that actually means. So raising your vibration doesn't mean, I'm going to be happy and positive. I mean, great if you can maintain that for the rest of your life. Oh my God, that's hard. But raising your vibration, now the reason why that's said as a thing is because everything is frequency. And you're probably thinking, Jolene, that does not help me. What the hell do you mean by that? Well, for a start, humans, our bodies, are made up of predominantly water. So we're very much water-based. And we are a spirit living in that body. So when you die, obviously, your body stays here. But if you've ever seen somebody or an animal die, in that moment, part of them goes. Yeah, but their physical body is still here. It's a magical, bizarre, normal thing. Like, I don't know how you can say bizarre and normal at the same time, but it is. So it's knowing that we are a spirit in that body, and the body is made up of predominantly water. So where does the frequency bit come in? Well, okay, so I'm going to start by telling you about cymatics and about an experiment that you can do. You can also do this with food as well, but I'm going to tell you about when I did this with water. So I got 2 jars of water, and what I did to the first jar, so bear in mind water, quite similar to our bodies, I spoke into the first jar, and I made sure the jars were apart, and it was the same water at the same time and all that stuff. So the first jar I spoke into, I put in so much love and energy. I was thinking about people that I absolutely adored, and I was physically talking, not just thinking, but I was physically talking into the water. And then all this love and energy from the words I was saying, I then closed the lid, and then I got the other jar. And then I went off, and it was a horrible experience, but I tried to really embody so much hate, so much anger, so much frustration, and I was speaking all these words into the jar. And then I closed the lid. Then I put them in the freezer, left them overnight. When I looked at them the next day, the ice particles on them were completely different. So the ones that had all the hate spoken into and all the anger, those particles were they were really, really sharp, and disjointed. Like they weren't formed in the same way as the jar that was filled with love. So the jar that was filled with love, all the particles, they were almost more perfect. flat and gentle. And the other ones were a lot more like jagged. Yeah. So if you haven't tried this, do it, because it's fascinating. So that's where I want to try and tell you about the frequency. So the word cymatics is when, not somatic, cymatic, C-Y, not S-O, yeah, cymatic. So the frequency that comes out of your mouth will carry a vibration through the air. So this is why if you've been to any of my cacao ceremonies, we talk into the cacao before we drink it. So we bless the water with our physical vibration coming out of our mouth with, I normally say, love, healing, compassion as we speak into it. And we all do this. And it just, what you do then is you are restructuring the water molecules before you have that water energy enter into your body. Yeah. So you can start to get an idea now what I mean about frequency. So everything carries frequency, like all the noise you hear. Yeah. So if you've done any research into like listening to things on the radio, the TV, music, it was standardized at 440 hertz. But if you listen to stuff which is 432, which most of my instruments I play are at 432 hertz is a much more natural tone. People say, oh yes, but it sounds better at 440. I'm not necessarily disputing it might sound better, but how does it feel? That's where the difference is, yeah? It's how does it feel in the body? Because these frequencies, when they're played to you, they go in. This is why I don't watch TV anymore. I got rid of my TV because I was finding that the more I sort of got into everything that I was getting into, like just spiritually, I found that I was having trouble watching TV. I still loved watching TV, but I didn't enjoy it in the same way. So it's been over a year now since I got rid of my TV. And I also at the same time randomly just thought, no radio either. I can't, when I listen to the radio, I'm like, my God, are people actually listening to this? This sounds horrendous. Yeah. Because it just doesn't sit right. And this is the same as when people around you are talking very negatively, like, oh yeah. Can you imagine if I did a podcast like this? Yeah. Welcome to Sensual Being. Yeah. I'm Jolene. Oh, today's been awful. It's been awful. Oh, God. You'd just be like, yeah, bye. You wouldn't listen, would you? Like, why would you? It even feels weird doing that. So, I have to shake myself out of that now. Give me a minute. Yeah. So when you're around people who are very negative, you might not, you might sort of start to take it on because we become the average of who we surround ourselves with. Okay. So if you're surrounding yourself with negative people all the time, negativity is very strong. Positivity is strong too, but negativity is also very strong. And it's very easy to start mirroring someone, particularly if you're someone who doesn't want to break the norm and go, why are you so glum? What the hell have you got to be glum about? You're fine. There's been nothing wrong, So it's an interesting process, and this might make you lose a few friends. I know people have struggled with me before, and they're no longer in my life because they don't like me being me. They want me to be a certain way. They don't want me to change or evolve. They want me to not talk about certain things. And as you can tell by now, 50 episodes into this podcast, that's not happening. No. So it's being very aware of who you surround yourself with, particularly if they're family. You have to be so careful. Don't just cut all your family off, but maybe limit yourself the times that you spend with them, certain people if you need to. Maybe limit the certain topics that you're happy to talk about, and maybe just rule out some topics altogether. Other things that will bring your frequency, your vibration down. We've talked about TV, the news. Oh my God, the news. If you want the news, get real news. Don't turn on the mainstream news channels, because it's not real news. Go to places where you can actually find real news of what's going on in the world, what the reality is of what's going on. If you want the news, that's the way to do it. Don't just believe everything the mainstream tells you. Promise. If you take nothing from anything I've ever said, take that. Processed food. Oh my God, that brings you down. And your body tries its best to try and process this food, and it's not real food. And the more processed, so processed, when I say processed, over processed, ultra processed, I mean food that has been processed, put in a packet, then you bring it home, and either you eat it like that or you then cook it and then eat it. Yeah, so a lot of vegetarian stuff, all the corn stuff, I used to eat all of that. I know, I can't believe it. I used to eat so much of that. Don't touch the stuff now. I just see it as poison. No way. Don't want that in my body. It's not real food. But also, processing food is how we actually make food. So if you cook something, if you cook chicken breast in the oven, that is also processed food. But it's not ultra processed food. It's not over processed. It's not losing everything. And also, if you try and eat that chicken raw, you'll probably die. So don't do that. So what I'm saying is there's processed and there's ultra processed. And it's the ultra processed, a bit like cereal. Cereal is not real food. I will not buy it because I will eat the entire box. And I haven't had cereal for years and years, and I used to love it when I was a kid, my favorite. But it's not real food. Yeah, that is processed to the gods. That is processed. Oh my God, to the devil probably, not to the gods. Social media. Oh my God, that's also processed. That's also lowers your vibration like hugely. Also lowers your concentration as well. So again, it's the colors of it. It's the sound. Oh, the sound. I mean, I don't have TikTok, but I've had it before, and that is the worst one for all of this. But also it's that like gossiping and negativity, all that sort of stuff brings you right down. So we've talked about a lot of stuff that lowers our vibration, and most of what I've just said, you could argue gossiping goes against what I'm about to say, but I would argue it's not real either. So a lot of this stuff that lowers your vibration actually disconnects you from people around you. So TV disconnects you, the news will disconnect you. Processed food, you need to digest it, it will disconnect you from people around you. Social media. You could argue that gossiping might bring you closer to people, but I don't think it does, because it's not a real connection. It's based on judgment. Yeah. And then if you're gossiping about someone, then you're probably going to be more paranoid about someone gossiping about you, because you do it, you know how much you say, and you're not being sincere. It's just a real big disconnect, and it's not real. It's not valid. So there's no space for that in my little life. I don't do all that. I just don't take part in it. So things you can do, all this stuff to lower your vibration. Come on, Jolene, what are the stuff that I can do to increase it? You've got me here now. I want to know. So things you can do. Right. So a bit like what I said earlier, it's not about standing and shaking. Actually, yes, why not? So if you move your body, shake it about. Oh my God. So we do this at the start of every pole class before we actually kind of get going. So once we've warmed up, we normally have a shake, because it shakes any stagnant energy around the body. So it's a bit like when I get upset, if I'm not in a position where I'm happy to cry and I try and keep it in because I'm upset, it will go straight to my head, instant headache, because that emotion goes into your body. So you imagine all these things happening to you throughout the day. And if you're not having a particularly good time at the moment, or maybe you do a job, I've got one of my students, she works in A&E. Fucking shout out to you, Melissa. My God, amazing job. But that sort of job, like, you will take stuff away with you every day when you go home. So shaking will release a lot of any pent up like emotion and tension. It might make you laugh, might make you cry if there's a lot there. So walking in nature. Oh, best one. But walking, moving, dancing, putting on music, singing. Oh my God, singing is one of the best ways to increase your vibration. Any exercise, pretty much. I can't think of any exercise off the top of my head that would be bad. I think pretty much all exercise would be good. Having a gratitude practice. Yeah, so being grateful, being really grateful, maybe having a set time every day, maybe every morning when you have your morning drink, you're going to think of 3 things that you're grateful for. Whether you write them down or not, it doesn't matter. It's up to you. It's up to you. It's just having that pattern of being grateful. And so being like positive energy, positive thinking, that's all good. Affirmations are beautiful, because a lot of the time, a lot of people talk so negatively towards themselves, and there's really no need. But how do you change that? Affirmations will help you do that. So if you change your inner monologue to start to be, I am this, I am that, I am wonderful, today is amazing, something good is always about to happen, all these sort of things. Brainwash yourself, because that's what you're doing with negativity. So why don't you use your powers for good, not evil? Grounding. So 2 things with grounding. One is having grounding experiences, like hugging somebody, walking in nature. That's a very grounding experience. Also, sometimes for a lot of people, having a hot drink, holding the hot mug in their hands is very grounding. Don't burn yourself, but very grounding. But there's also the grounding of connecting your bare skin to the earth, particularly your feet to the earth, mud, grass, natural stone, big bodies of water, river, sea, pebbles, sand. So grounding, hugging trees, putting your hands on trees. So bare feet on earth is amazing. Your actual palms of your hands on trees or the earth is absolutely amazing. And that will literally recharge you. It's just wonderful. I do it every day. I've been doing it every day now, pretty much for just over a year. And honestly, that is one thing that I will never go back on now. That is a staple part of my whole day. The sun is so healing. The sun will increase your vibration as well. You go out in the middle of a hot summer's day, be very, very careful. But what I'm talking about is getting the right sun at the right time for you, and your body knows when that is. So a lot of the time in the summer, for me, it's the morning sun. And do you know what? Even if the chemtrails have been around in the air and there's all those clouds up trying to block the sun from you, still stand in the sun and take in the rays. Because even though the sun can't quite get to you fully, it is still there. Yeah. So don't neglect it just because it looks like a dim day. Go outside and feel that the fact that the sun is there. Because in the UK, if you're listening to this in the UK, we get a lot of cloudy days, don't we? Although I'm looking out now and it's blue sky. So I love that. But don't see the sun as something bad, yeah? And go out in the sunshine without your sunglasses on. I'm not telling you to look at the sun, but go out without your sunglasses on, because your skin, when your eyes meet the sun, not directly, when your eyes register, that's a better word, register that the sun is actually there, then your skin will do what it needs to do to protect you. Yeah, so even if you go out in winter sun, have some time at least without your sunglasses on. Allow your body to actually absorb the sun into the skin fully, because when you have your sunglasses on, you tell your skin the sun's not really there. This is why a lot of people get burnt. And just a little side note, I haven't worn sunglasses for a year now, and I've been on beach holidays, and I've managed to read in the sun, and I don't need sunglasses, and I haven't been burnt at all this year. So big high five to me, because I have not been burnt at all this year, which is incredible. So those are some things that you can take away with you, some ways of raising your vibration and why it's important. And I'm just going to drip feed something else in there as well. So we talked at the start about cymatics, about how your voice and sounds around you have a vibration aspect to them and will like change the water particles. So remember, bless your water, or whatever you want to call the process. Talk into your water before you have it to restructure the water. But the other thing is that your thoughts carry energy. Okay, so it's remembering that your thoughts will carry energy with them. So it's a little bit like when you're manifesting things. Yeah, this is part of it. Your thoughts carry energy. So it's not only what you physically do, it's what's going on in your head. Yeah. So get off the negativity train if you're on it, or if you keep jumping on it. Jump onto the positivity mobile. Didn't know I could say that. And if you have any other ideas of how you raise your vibration, please share them with me, because I'm up for more ways that we can connect and raise our vibration. Sounds so hippie-ish, but it's so true. Okay, so I hope you take lots of good things from this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate you for being here. Remember to lead through your life with your heart and to live with intention. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this episode, please do share it with your friends and on social media. If you have the time to rate or review this podcast, I'd be ever so grateful. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, you can find me at Jolene Sensual Being. The links to my YouTube and to sign up to my mailing list will be in the show notes as well. I look forward to speaking with you again very soon.